Satvat and others who've joined online. Thank you very much for coming for the Bhakti Shastri class. We'll start off with our Mangalacharan prayers and then we can do that. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroh Shri Yotapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Bhayascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Shatya Deshatarine Matsamo Nasti Papatma Naparadhi Chakaschana Parihare Pilajjame Kimbruve Purushottama Bhumau Skalitapadanam Bhumireva Valambanam Tvai Jata Paradhanam Tvameva Sharanam Prabho Govinda Vallabhe Radhe Prarthaye Tvamaham Sada Tvadiyam Iti Janatu Govindo Mam Tvaya Saha. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, thank you. So, we'll do chapters 6, 7, and 8 today, if I remember correctly. Or 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9, right? Yes, thank you, 7, 8, 9. So, thus far, we have discussed in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu what is the pure devotional service, beginning with Anya Vilashita Shunyam verse. We also discussed the primary and secondary characteristics of that particular verse. We also discussed the 6 effects of pure devotional service to Krishna that formed the part 1, or which is called the first wave of Nectar of Devotion. The second wave, we started off with discussing about the purity of devotional service, the qualifications needed for devotional service, who can do devotional service. All that was extensively discussed. Then coming on, Srila Rupa Goswami enumerates 64 items of devotional service, and we discussed that till the last class. In the 64 items, we discussed about the 10 do's, 10 don'ts, and then 44 additional items. So in the next few chapters, Srila Rupa Goswami introduces evidence from various scriptures supporting the different items of devotional service. And that's what we'll be discussing over the next few chapters. So if you can look up the chapter 7, we started off with so one way to keep track if you want to mapping is that the 64 items are mentioned in chapter 6, correct? What are the first 3 in chapter 6? You can see here on page, for those who are keeping track of it. That's you. Chapter 6, if you see the second paragraph, it is mentioned here. He mentions the basic principles as follows. 1, accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of the bona fide spiritual master, becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotional service from him, and obeying the orders of the spiritual masters with great faith. And next is following in the footsteps of the great acharyas, teachers under the direction of the spiritual master. Right? So if you can see, Srila Rupa Goswami starts giving evidences. And if you go back to chapter 7, you can keep this and you can duplicate the tab. That would be helpful as well, but it's your choice. In the chapter 7, correct. So you can see how accepting the shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. Vicky, you can start off with the first paragraph there, please. In the 11th canto.
In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, verse 21.
You have to do this, just shrink it a little bit so that the screen, so that maybe you can reduce the size a little bit in the screen. Okay. I think it's. You can use the book. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd chapter, verse 21, Prabhupada tells Maharaj Nimi, "My dear king, please know for certain that in the material world there is no happiness. It is simply a mistake to think that there is happiness here, because this place is full of nothing but miserable conditions. Any person who is seriously desirous of achieving real happiness must seek out a bona fide spiritual master and take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of a spiritual master is that he must have realized the conclusion of the scriptures by deliberation and arguments, and thus be able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, are to be understood as bona fide spiritual masters. Everyone should try to find such a bona fide spiritual master in order to fulfill the mission of his life, which is to transfer himself to the plane of spiritual bliss."
Thank you. So the Sanskrit verse is Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Pare Chanishnatam Brahma Shreya Upash Brahma Supashra last verse. Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jignasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Pare Chanishnatam Brahmanyupashamashraya Shrayam, something like that it goes, where it is mentioned that if you really want to seek relief from the miserable material conditions, then one has to seek out the shelter of the bona fide spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada actually writes that what are the qualifications of the bona fide spiritual master in the next verse, in the next paragraph as well. And then the next one would be accepting the initiation. If you can scroll down a little bit, please. All right. So, Krishna, you can do that particular paragraph. Sage Prabhupada continued to speak to king as follows.
Sage Prabhupada continued to speak to the king as follows. My dear king, a disciple has to accept the spiritual master not only as spiritual master, but also as the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the Supersoul. In other words, the disciple should accept the spiritual master as God because he is the external manifestation of Krishna. This is confirmed in every scripture, and a disciple should accept the spiritual master as such. One should learn Srimad Bhagavatam seriously and with all respect and veneration for the spiritual master. Hearing and speaking Srimad Bhagavatam is the religious process that elevates one to the platform of serving and loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Thank you. So it's the Sanskrit verses Acharyam Mam Vijaniyam Nava Manyeta Karhechit Namartya Suya Buddhyeta Sarvadeva Mayo Harihi Sarvadeva Mayo Guru. So it is mentioned that Krishna says that that Acharyam Mam Vijaniyam, that one should consider Acharya to be myself. Acharyam Mam Nava Manyeta Karhechit. Never to disrespect that particular personality, because all the demigods are assembled in that particular personality. It seems little puzzling. Srila Prabhupada in New York in 1965 or 66 actually. So the first batch of his disciples or aspiring disciples came, and they said, we want to take shelter. And they said, is there any rules or any things that we should know before you take initiation? And Srila Prabhupada said, you should treat me like God. And they were all confounded and puzzled. What is he talking about? For months on end, he was been like saying those who say they are God are no better than dogs. And, he's been going extremely strong against Mayavad philosophy. And now he is saying that, we should consider him God. And then one of his senior disciples, they said, okay, we are all confused. What do you mean by this, to consider you as God? And then Srila Prabhupada told him that the spiritual master is as good as Krishna in terms of the entity or the concept of Godhead, which is externally manifest or manifest directly in front of my eyes. Krishna can never, because the idea is that, Krishna can directly initiate, and he did initiate Brahma. But he will not speak to you unless one is purified. And how can I get purified is that by taking the external manifestation of Krishna, who is none other than Sri Guru. So that is the idea here. Because if you don't have that kind of vision that my spiritual master is non-different from Krishna, in terms of the capacity to accept service and be the via medium to Krishna, then you will always have the differentiation. And that differentiation is not good in spiritual life. My guru said something, but Krishna is there, he's better. So you can see how that mentality kind of seeps in. So one should be really careful about that. One should see no difference between Guru and Krishna. In fact, Chaitanya Charitamrita goes even further, saying that one should see no difference between the Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru and Krishna also. So it goes to even Gurus also, one should kind of not see the difference. But in the practicality of it is that there is always the time, place, circumstance to kind of implement that. For example, if there is a perfect harmony with your Diksha and Siksha Gurus, then it's nice, it's a happy situation. If not, then further consideration can be given. But those are all minor details. But the essential scriptural injunction is that one shouldn't see one's Guru as not different from Krishna. And it's vice versa. Because one is surrendered to Krishna, Krishna becomes obligated to that particular devotee. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado, which means that if the spiritual master is satisfied, Krishna is satisfied. And then, so vice versa will happen, because Krishna is satisfied, he'll give blessings through Sri Guru. Right? It's not a one-way traffic. If your spiritual master is pleased and blesses you because of your service, then one can be sure that Krishna is pleased and he is blessing you as well. And if you displease Guru, then Krishna will be displeased as well. So this is a very important point that one has to, because in the modern Kali Yuga, if this principle is lost, then one tries to go on the path of Gyan, one tries to go do different things. The process becomes really simple and easy. Otherwise, it becomes super complicated. Questions, comments, concerns? Acharyam mam vijaniyam nava manyeta karchit. It is in the 11th canto. It is in the early 11th canto. Can somebody give me Shloka Book, please? And you can all grab a copy. You can all go on like Easter egg treasure hunt, looking for shlokas, gems. You can get some. Yes, thank you. It's put up there, Laksh. Acharyam mam vijaniyan navamanyeta karhichit namurtya buddhya suyeta sarvadeva mayo guru. Okay. All right, we'll continue a little bit more from Nectar of Devotion. Thank you. All right. Then, Preeti Gaurangi, you have to do the third one, which is, if you go up a little bit, regarding, the third one, serving the spiritual master with faith and confidence, the first paragraph.
Serving the spiritual master with faith and confidence. Regarding accepting initiation from the spiritual master, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 17th chapter, verse 27, it is stated by Lord Krishna, "My dear Uddhava, the spiritual master must be accepted not only as my representative, but as my very self. He must never be considered on the same level with an ordinary human being. One should never be envious of the spiritual master as one may be envious of an ordinary man. The spiritual master should always be seen as the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by serving the spiritual master, one is able to serve all the demigods."
Thank you. Again, it's a continuation of the same principle, but these three are essential. You can serve the spiritual master without taking initiation or without having sufficient faith. I mean, I serve him, that's all. I don't have faith, I don't take initiation. That's not good enough. These three they seem the same. They are centered around spiritual master, but there are subtle differences. I can take initiation, but I have no faith. I take an initiation and serve him, but no faith. Again, that doesn't work. I have faith, but I have not taken initiation or do no service. Doesn't work. I have faith and I have taken initiation, but I won't do any seva. Doesn't work. So every specific item has its own subtle nuances. And Srila Rupa Goswami writes, this is a very important aspect of taking devotional service. So these three are quite important. So far, so good. Lakshmi, I have a question. I can tell from your face. Go for it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, some time back I heard or I read Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna does not accept anything from person who does not have a guru. Like Krishna does not accept direct service if we do not have a guru. So can you tell that?
Well, again, the whole point goes back to the fact that what does Krishna need from an ordinary person? Let's take from that line of angle. I want to give some service to Krishna, but does Krishna need anything from me? He doesn't. Seriously, he doesn't. He doesn't need anything from me. It's not like he's lacking money. He lives on monthly subscriptions that I give donation to the temple. No. It's not he's lacking some knowledge, he's lacking money. He's completely Atmarama, self-satisfied. He's the Supreme Lord who's maintaining unlimited number of people. One Brahma he maintains with one planet. He has millions of Brahmas that what does he need from us? What does he need? The only thing he says is he's greedy for the love. He's greedy for our love. And it's literally, love me, love my dog. Literally, that is a crude way of putting it, but it's very apt. And since Vaisheshik Prabhu used it, I will use it as well. Because the idea is that if, Krishna, I want to serve you because I love you. Truly, all right, serve my representative. Go seek him out. And because I love my devotees to that extent that I am ready to do anything for them. That is Krishna's attitude. Arjun was fighting, but not with 100% effort on Mahabharata. Especially when it came to a very unpalatable act of fighting and killing his own grandfather Bhishma. Time and again Krishna was exhorting him, please don't show any lenience because he's your grandfather, go fight. He's decimating our armies, we need to remove the thorn that is Bhishma for our success, please go. Arjun was fighting, but still he was a little overwhelmed by the fact. And then Krishna became so exasperated at one point, transcendental exasperation. But he became exasperated at one point that he said, I will go and kill Bhishma. And as we know this beautiful story or the beautiful painting where the Lord is just taking the wheel of the chariot and hurling towards Lord Bhishma, who was like waiting for the Lord to kill him. And Arjun actually, then he realized, oh my God, that act of Krishna was so touching to Arjuna because he said, this is the personality of Godhead, my Lord, who is willing to break his word for my sake. Please understand that there is nothing that can happen without will of Krishna. So it is that helpless situation that Krishna is put in with his devotee is not an act of helplessness, but just a manifestation of love. And Arjun came to his senses that this is my... And then immediately he realized when Krishna took up, he is like rushing out of it, his helmet gone, his upper cloth kind of flying to the wind, and Krishna, when he picked up the wheel of a chariot that was lying around, Arjuna came to his senses. It hit him hard, it hit him strong. And he said to the Lord, please forgive me. And then it seems that Lord was so agitated that Arjun actually clasped onto the lotus feet of Krishna, but Krishna was still walking, dragging Arjun as he was clasping his feet for almost 10 yards before Krishna stopped. Because then he said, the whole world will blame you for violating your word, and I will not let that happen, I will fight. So the point is that Krishna is asking for our love, but he loves his devotees to such an extent he is willing to do anything for them. And when we love his devotees and serve him, the chief of those devotees is the spiritual master, then Krishna is supremely pleased, and that's what he expects from us. So whatever we do for Krishna never goes in vain, but he will not wholeheartedly give himself out of love just because you will say, Krishna, I will bypass your devotee in the form of spiritual master. He will still accept it, but it's not with the same intensity. One point. The other point is, many people approach Krishna with many things, and Krishna is capable of fulfilling their desires. It's not like Gajendra had to go through a spiritual master or Dhruva had to go. Dhruva, of course, Narada was there, he intervened, he gave the mantra, so on and so forth. But it's not needed. But if you truly want to capture Krishna as he is, then nothing but love, nothing but pure unalloyed devotion will capture him in your heart, and that is done through seva to a Sri Guru. Okay. Yes. I think you had a follow-up question, so yeah. What is? Ask the question. We'll do that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So, Prabhuji, yes, thank you for explaining. But we read like Maharaj Purik just got initiation a week before, but before dying. So from Shukdev Goswami, but Krishna helped him. He saved him. he gave him this certain situation so he can remember and come back to him. So, but he was not initiated, but Krishna took full care of him just because he was coming from Pandava's family. That's the only thing, or how we can understand?
No, it is mentioned that right from the, in fact, in one sense, Krishna, the first personality that Maharaj Parikshit saw even before he took birth was Krishna. He entered into the womb of his mother to protect him. So that is not necessarily true that he was initiated a week before. He was already an exalted personality. And it was mentioned that he is already a Bhagavatottama, or a topmost devotee. Shukadeva Goswami came as an agent or instrument of Krishna to help him facilitate the hearing and chanting of the glories of Krishna towards the end of his life. Not specifically that he got initiated. Krishna was always protecting him. That's why he's called Vishnu Rata, protected by Krishna or Vishnu. Priti Gaurangi.
Prabhuji, sometimes it so happens that, say, you want initiation from a particular guru and you have been waiting all throughout your life, and for some reason the guru leaves this body before you get initiated, and then that person is fixated to, because he or she gave their heart to this guru's teachings. So now what's the situation? Should they move on and then look for other guru, or in their heart, because they have accepted this person as their guru, just wait and just be that way?
From ISKCON perspective, GBC is the ultimate managerial authority within ISKCON. So GBC mandates that they give the permission you can take from any other guru. But a lot depends on your own spiritual master. Please understand that none of the spiritual masters have this mentality that I am or nobody else. They are always more than happy to facilitate the progress of their disciples or aspiring disciples by always saying that you can take shelter of any person, any spiritual master. Now, if that person is like, no, I've given my heart and soul to this person only and I'm not going to take anyone, that's a rare case, and it's hard to say this way or that way, because maybe I'm so determined for that personality. Again, the point is this though, this is my point. Guru is not a person. I mean, he's a person, don't get me wrong, it will be shocking. But more than that, Guru is a tattva. So every Guru is a representative of that tattva or truth. When you become the tattva as a person, then there is a serious misunderstanding in that. So no Guru in their right mind will say that it's me or nobody. Then if I leave my body, where I'm leaving you stranded, how is my teachings going to help you? Am I going to give you a guarantee that in the next life you die and then I'll take birth? It's just, so that is, the practicality is not possible. So it's tattva that the disciple should understand. Guru is a medium to go through Krishna, but it is not a person only that will get me to Krishna. If you have that understanding, then you will kind of be reconciling. If you don't have that, this only person was supposed to take me. Because A, you are confused that who is the ultimate goal? Krishna is the ultimate goal. B, can any other bona fide goal? Yes. So if you have that understanding, that is good. If not, then, we can have further conversations.
Okay, slightly similar question, just flipped scenario. So let's say a disciple leaves their body before finishing their sadhana or reaching Godhead, and then what happens to them in their next life if they're initiated?
Krishna will make arrangements for the Guru to either meet in future or something. Krishna will take care of it. How and when, it in time, place, circumstance, it depends. But be assured that even though one is aspiring and one gives up the body, that aspiration is never gone in vain. That doesn't get covered because I leave my body. In the next life, I'll pick up where I left from. Yes? Vicky?
Hare Krishna, Srivas Pandit Prabhu. I just wanted to note that in our Guru Puja prayers, we chant the phrase, although I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. And in the purport, Prabhupada says, every living entity is eternally a servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, therefore the spiritual master cannot be other than a servant of Lord Chaitanya.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, you didn't have a question, right? You're just reflecting that. All right, thank you. Any online question before we continue? Okay. Because then let's go to the next one. Yes, please.
Is there any description about the qualities of a disciple? We talked about like the qualifications of a spiritual master, but how a disciple should serve their spiritual master to please them.
You can go up a little bit. No, so where we previously covered topics, maybe that's the right way to. So this is the qualification of Guru. Let me look it up, it's easier. So let's go to the second one, the attitude of the disciple. This will be from accepting initiation from a spiritual master, correct? Yeah, that's where it is. You can read that, Satya Sankalpa Prabhu.
The attitude of the disciple should be to satisfy the bonafide spiritual master. Then it will be very easy for him to understand spiritual knowledge. This is confirmed in the Vedas, and Rupa Goswami will further explain that for a person who has unflinching faith in God and the spiritual master, everything becomes revealed very easily.
So it all depends. So the details are little individualized. For example, one guru likes to do some service, you can help him with that service, or some attitude you can help, because most of the gurus like the temple to be clean. So for example, cleaning the temple, whatever be it. So there are multiple or multifarious ways on keeping it. And one thing I found that is helpful is that it's always when you approach the guru, ask him, how can I serve you? And that should be the standard question. And there could be service, there could not be service. But my attitude of asking that question every time I meet or whenever I can meet my guru, that should be the way. Thank you. Okay. We will go to the next one, following in the footsteps of saintly persons. So, all right. Well, let's do the first two paragraphs. Mataji, you can do it. And then Achutalila Prabhu, you can do the next paragraph. So.
In the Skanda Purana, it is advised that a devotee follow the past acharyas and the saintly persons, because by such following one can achieve the desired results with no chance of lamenting or being baffled in his progress. The scripture known as Brahma Yamala states as follows: if someone wants to pose himself as a great devotee without following the authorities of the revealed scriptures, then his activities will never help him to make progress in devotional service. Instead, he will simply create disturbance for the sincere students of devotional service. Those who do not strictly follow the principles of revealed scriptures are generally called sahajiyas, those who have imagined everything to be cheap, who have their own concocted ideas, and who do not follow the scriptural injunctions. Such persons are simply creating disturbances in the discharge of devotional service.
So here, this is the famous verse quoted by Rupa Goswami, Shruti Smriti Pranadi Pancharatrim Vidim Vina Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir Utpadyaiva Kalpate. So he says that without the following of scriptures, Shruti, Smriti, and Puranas, one's service is actually, or one's attitude is actually disturbing. And here Prabhupada writes, one has to follow the rules and regulations of the scriptures. Now, there are quite from rules and regulations of the scriptures, and also my own psychophysical nature might or might not allow to follow everything. It could be either the past that kind of is forcing me, or it could be physical considerations. For example, if a person might not have difficulty fasting from food and water, for example, on Ekadashis or Nirjal, so on and so forth. So the idea here is that I will, even though I might not be able to follow all the scriptures, but I will never lose faith in them. That is the point. Sahajiyas, they will say that we don't need to follow. What we are doing, it's okay. And it could be completely against scriptures. So that sort of disharmony between completely like not being able to follow either because of some consideration versus deliberately disobeying the scriptures in the name of spiritual advancement and mental concoction, those are two different things. One point. Point number two is that when one has faith in scriptures and when one follows, then Krishna will give that strength from within to follow as well. So there are two aspects that need to be considered. Then one point is, this is the thing. Is Lord Buddha counted in one of the Dashavataras? Then we should follow Lord Buddha. So those who are worshipping Lord Buddha are pure devotees because he is a Vishnu Tattva. We all should become Buddhists. Thank God. Okay, please read the next paragraph, Prabhu.
In this connection, an objection may be raised by those who are not in devotional service and who do not care for the revealed scriptures. An example of this is seen in Buddhist philosophy. Lord Buddha appeared in the family of a high-grade Kshatriya king, but his philosophy was not in accord with the Vedic conclusions and therefore was rejected. Under the patronage of a Hindu king, Maharaj Ashoka, the Buddhist religion was spread all over India and the adjoining countries. However, after the appearance of the great stalwart teacher Shankaracharya, this Buddhism was driven out beyond the borders of India. The Buddhists or other religionists who do not care for revealed scriptures sometimes say that there are many devotees of Lord Buddha who show devotional service to Lord Buddha and who therefore should be considered devotees. In answer to this argument, Rupa Goswami says that the followers of Buddha cannot be accepted as devotees. Although Lord Buddha is accepted as an incarnation of Krishna, the followers of such incarnations are not very advanced in the knowledge of the Vedas. To study the Vedas means to come to the conclusion of the supremacy of the personality of Godhead.
Can you please repeat that sentence?
To study the Vedas means to come to the conclusion of the supremacy of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, any religious principle that denies the supremacy of the personality of Godhead is not accepted and is called atheism. Atheism means defying the authority of the Vedas and decrying the great acharyas who teach Vedic scriptures for the benefit of the people in general.
Laksh, next paragraph, please.
Lord Buddha is accepted as an incarnation of Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavatam, but in the same Srimad Bhagavatam it is stated that Lord Buddha appeared in order to bewilder the atheistic class of men. Therefore, his philosophy is meant for bewildering the atheist and should not be accepted. If someone asks, why should Krishna propagate atheistic principles? The answer is that it was the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to end the violence which was then being committed in the name of the Vedas. The so-called religionists were falsely using the Vedas to justify such violent acts as meat eating, and Lord Buddha came to lead the fallen people away from such a false interpretation of the Vedas. Also for the atheists, Lord Buddha preached atheism so that they would follow him and thus be tricked into devotional service to Lord Buddha or Krishna.
So here you see there is one point, because there seems to be like you have to follow scriptures, but scriptures that the Lord himself sometimes gives this unique position. He comes and he denies the scriptures he himself established for his own purpose. So don't do that. I'll give a simple example. In the previous times, the kings would actually they would directly or through their guards, kill people. For example, in a battlefield, the king would kill or behead people. You cannot call the king a murderer, but you don't follow the king or imitate him and behead the people. Yes or yes? So in the same vein, Lord Buddha came to preach non-violence because people were abusing his own Vedas. The Lord established Vedas, people were abusing it to kill animals, and Buddha came to show mercy on those poor animals. And the second reason Prabhupada gives is that he wanted to tell atheistic people, at least you follow me. Because atheistic people will not treat other living entities kindly because they think they are God and there is no God in control. So at least you follow me and be non-violent so that you will not sink deeper into hell. And that was the message of Buddha. But we as Vaishnavas don't specifically follow Buddha because he is not establishing the supremacy of the scriptures. And therefore Rupa Goswami says, so there is that intricate detail that needs to be understood here. Because Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, and if you don't follow the scriptures, then your devotional service is useless. But then, Buddha is an incarnation, and he said no to scriptures. So far so good. Because those are the things I wanted to discuss at length in this. Then, let's go to accepting only what is necessary. It's really nice. I think Vicky will be happy with this. All right, online, if anybody can read the first paragraph, please. Or I believe there's only one paragraph, correct? Is there anyone online who wants to read? Or
Hare Krishna, Babu, I can read, Prabhu.
Okay, Hare Krishna, thank you, yes.
Accepting only what is necessary. In the Navadviya Purana, it is directed, one should not accept more than necessary if he is serious about discharging devotional service. The purport is that one should not neglect following the principles of devotional service, nor should one accept the ruling of devotional service that are more than what he can easily perform.
Can you please repeat
For example,
that? No, can you please repeat
yes.
that?
The purport is that one should not neglect following the principles of devotional service, nor should one accept the rulings of devotional service that are more than what he can easily perform. For example, it may be said that one should chant the Hare Krishna mantra at least 100,000 times daily on his beats. But if this is not possible, then one must minimize his chanting according to his own capacity. Generally, we recommend our disciples to chant at least 16 rounds on their japa beats daily. And this should be completed. But if one is not even able to chant 16 rounds, then he must make it up the next day. He must be sure to keep his vow. If he does not strictly follow this out, then he is sure to be negligent. That is offensive in the service of the Lord. If we encourage offenses, we shall not be able to make progress in devotional service. It is better if one fixes up our regulative principles according to his own ability and then follows that vow without fail. That will make him advanced in spiritual life.
So wherever there is him, please also substitute her. This is a really beautiful purport. It's a purport. If we go back, one of the things Srila Prabhupada says is that, one should accept what is necessary. It technically usually refers to material things. It's the house that is good, the car you can drive easily. But here Prabhupada is also talking in terms of spiritual services. You should be, actually the word there Prabhupada uses is easily. If you go up, the purport is that one should not neglect following the principles of devotional service, nor should one accept the rulings of devotional service that are more than what he can. The word is, next word is. So please be aware of this. That doesn't mean that I will not do any service. I will, oh, Prabhu, I need to do some service. I'll take that flower from that vase and put it into that vase. That's my service. No. That is being lazy. But the other extreme is I'll take on so many services that I'm not able to easily perform it. And I'm really passionate, stressed out. I'm doing multiple things at the same time. And it causes serious health issues. And it really doesn't make a lot of progress in bhakti, because it's not done in the mood of goodness. It takes in a very passionate environment. So one should be able to do the service in a way that is easy. And if you come down again, this purport, if ever you get doubt about what services you need to do, please read this. And Srila Prabhupada, he specifically says japa. There are a few things. He says that we cannot chant like Haridas Thakur. 192 rounds every single day. It's impossible to do it. So chant 16 rounds if you can't make it up next day. And Srila Prabhupada writes that when he talks of service, he says this is the bare minimum you have to do. Of all accepting what is necessary, he said in the rulings that Srila Prabhupada gave us, he says 16 rounds minimum is the most important thing. You have to do it. Everything else can be adjusted around it. So, because the other thing is, if I take on too many services, how good is the quality of my rounds? If that is not good, then other services will have a certain value or impact, but there won't be progress, and people will be, the problem is, oh, I'm doing so much for Krishna and burning out myself. Well, my rounds are not good, and then I feel that I'm not making any progress. So please, do what we can. And at least in Kali Yuga, in Silicon Valley, in a time and age where just living it on a day-to-day basis is stressful, you should take heart to this, to do the best you can. I'm not at all advocating to be like not do at all, come to temple. No, do your services wholeheartedly, but do it in a pleasing way that doesn't interrupt your 16 rounds and your sense of well-being, or holistic well-being. Oftentimes, devotees do a lot of services in the temple and it impacts their work. And they get frustrated, God, I'm serving you, why is it my work not going well? He didn't say that, you just sacrifice your work for me. If Arjuna said, I don't want to work, I want to go to the forest, Krishna said, no work. So based on the stage we are in, based on the advancement that we make, based on faith we have in Krishna, based on family obligation, there are so many factors that come into play to say that this is what I can do for Krishna as a devotional service, and this is what I have to do outside as a material obligation, which is nothing but devotional service in a covered way, in a different way. It's the same thing. So far, so good. Questions, comments? This time I'll start with online. Sunita Matji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam. I'm not ready for the question. Actually, I was waiting for the reading.
All right. Okay. All right.
Hare
I'll
Krishna,
call on
Prabhuji.
you next time to read. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So please, and then it's if you are asked to do so many services, it's okay to say that I don't have the sufficient bandwidth to kind of help you. If out of feeling shy or feeling obligated or thinking that person will be displeased with me, or if I say no, and if you say yes to everything, then, initially that person might be happy, but later they will be like, where was the service? Where did you go? I was like, I couldn't do it. Then you should have told me earlier so that I could have found someone else to do that. So it's better to be upfront and honest to say that, this is what can be done, this is what cannot be done. And absolutely my 16 rounds. And even Srila Prabhupada encouraged, his disciples were building a temple in Vrindavan. They were going 4 hours a day, sleeping barely at night and trying to push for the temple construction. And Srila Prabhupada still insisted that the manager should make arrangements in such a way that the devotees don't think that 16 rounds is something that optional, because they are doing so many services. Quite important. Because if you read Nectar of Devotion, and then you will have a clear-cut direction on how I should proceed in bhakti. What's the most effective thing? Otherwise, it can become, we can feel burnt out in Krishna consciousness. Okay. Questions? Yes.
I have a question.
Akhil. Yes.
Can I
And
ask?
then, Hare Krishna.
Hare
I'll take the question with Akhil and
Sure.
then I'll come. All right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, what is based on what you said, what is the fine line between what is easy or not? Because sometimes you always feel like you can do more, or you're just being lazy. At what point does it get troubling? Where does that guidance come from?
First of all, you're never lazy because you came to Krishna. You're doing so much for Krishna. So we should pat ourselves on the back occasionally, saying that, I could have done a million things and a billion things in the age of Kali, where nothing is frowned upon. You're not being outcast for doing any nonsense. That is Kali Yuga for you. But so give a pat yourself on the back, saying that, I am a little bit wiser than others, so I am doing bhakti to Krishna. Having said that, see, the thing is, everybody feels, and even the most veteran devotees, sannyasis in ISKCON, they feel the need to have time for themselves, to take care of themselves. Devotee self-care is one of the things that, if you see on the YouTube, Mahatma Prabhu and others gave a lot of talks on that, on how we as individuals need certain time to take care of ourselves and body as a mechanism. Then my sadhana, that aspect of it, then my service. So it's a lot of pieces, and you alone can decide, so for some people, I don't need my downtime. I can just keep on continuing. Ideally, it is, everybody needs it, but some may need more, some may need less. It's your individual choice. For some, it's like a burst of 3 days of service, then 3 days of downtime. For some, 3 hours of service, 1 hour of downtime. Everybody has their own individual need on how you can. My goal should be, how can I be a devotee throughout my life? I want to be a lifetime devotee. So what it means as an individual to do to keep that going. So, for example, you can always do better, and that's a good thing to have. But the problem is, there is no, if that attitude where you also take time to either receive positive messages and appreciation of service you do, either from your mentor or from your own inner self, then you are always in the mode that I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And then what's the point of doing bhakti? If I'm not good enough and I put it in business, I'll become a multi-millionaire. Because that way, that is one way. Complacency in business will kill you. But having that attitude in business, it will keep on going. You'll feel burnt out. But the thing is, in bhakti, you should at least pat yourself on the back. Akhil, you are doing a good job. At least we can, kind of, somebody says that, then that appreciation will keep going as well. And then when that attitude which is inbuilt in you will automatically push you to do more. Because I have that mentality, I'll still keep doing it. Is that helpful?
Yes, Prabhu. Can I ask a follow-up?
Yes.
Prabhu, based on what you said at the beginning of the class, the 3 things, have faith in the spiritual master, get initiated, and what was the third one?
Serve him with confidence.
Yeah. and even this aspect wherein if you're not, there is a possibility that you're performing with lesser, performing services, but with not this full consciousness that you need to be, because you're probably doing more. Is there any progress in this, or progress is lost? It's just loss of efficiency in progress?
You have to rephrase the question so that it comes, my understanding is really...
Sorry, Prabhu. It was a mumble jumble of words, but essentially, do we get full returns if it is not, like if all three pieces of the puzzle, as you said in the beginning?
Yes.
You said that even if one is missing, it's going to help you, it's going to hurt, or it's not going to be enough. And if I take this in parallel, that you are overstretching yourself, going probably beyond what is not easily being performed. So is that wasted effort?
No, it is not. It is not, because if it is too difficult to perform, then it's not sustainable on a daily basis. Then you will scale back anyways. For example, I'll chant 64 rounds a day no matter what. You try for 2 days, then you'll say, it's not going to work. So you'll come back to 16 rounds. The point is that there are two questions. One question is, if you should not have, you need not have 100% faith in the 3 items. Absolute faith. No. You should have, but you cannot have 0 also. That is why the point I was trying to make is, when I read for the first time, why is Rupa Goswami giving things that are implicit? You have to have faith in spiritual master, you have to take shelter, you have to serve him. It should be one instruction, why 3? Then it came to the conclusion that you can have one of the 3, yet fulfill, just accept a spiritual master. What do you mean accept a spiritual master? You'll have faith in him, you'll take initiation from him, you'll serve him. It's very explicit, very specific. So that's the point I was trying to make. And it is nothing to do with like the faith. The second thing is, as I mentioned, that if you push way beyond what you can do, it's great, but you should be happy doing it in that process. You shouldn't be miserable. That is the point I was trying to make.
That helps.
So some people go on book distribution, they're happy. They can go all day long and they don't feel tired. But if I have to go on book distribution, it's too much. And then I have to, 10 hours, I have to do it. Somehow I've taken a vow on myself, and then I'll push it daily. You'll be burnt out, you'll be miserable. And then you'll be like, the person comes, it's a joke, okay? The person comes, okay, what are these books? Get lost. You'll be snapping at him. So the point is, don't. That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. And regarding, Prabhu, there are so many services in the temple and so many things, and there are always there services in the temple. It's the job of the managers to make sure that they are done. And B is that usually it comes with a comparison. Others are doing so much, I'm not doing anything. Well, that is more of between you and Krishna on how you are pleasing and how you are being pleased. Just doing a lot of service, well, it is great. But as I said, if it is seriously impacting your chanting, for example, how pleasing it is to Krishna, or how pleasing it is to Sri Guru. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. There is an instance, Srila Prabhupada time, there was a devotee who used to cook, and Srila Prabhupada said, you don't need to chant, you are cooking all day long and you're so tired. So he only told him that you can skip chanting because you're doing service for Krishna, and that's wonderful. So how we can understand that?
He told it to him, not to you, so we are good. So the thing is, it's a joke, okay? So the idea is, there are specific instructions, there are generic instructions. It's different. So the generic instruction is 16 rounds. So let's stick to that. So sometimes the spiritual master might say it is an exceptional case, it's very specific. And I'll give a simple example. There could be a new mother who just gave birth to a child, and it takes a lot out of that particular person, and she's not able to keep up her 16 rounds, and she goes to tell her spiritual master, I am not able to keep up my 16 rounds. And the spiritual master might say, okay, for next 1 year, you might chant 8 rounds, but after that, come back to 16 rounds without fail, no matter what. So it's an instruction that was a very specific purpose, given to a very specific situation, with all due consideration. And the Guru has that power, because Guru specifically gave the instruction to that person, it is okay. But otherwise, it's not applicable to us. All right. Yes. Huh? Rasa Prema Mataji. Okay, she has a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Rasa
Yes,
Purnima.
I have
Hare
a question.
Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I know there is no strict rules on how and where to chant 16 rounds. My question is that has to be sitting in one spot, or can I do it in my morning walk? And the second part of my question is, if I only can chant 8 rounds in the morning, can I finish it after work?
The answer is yes and yes. For the one, you can do japa walk, but please, it depends on japa walk. Walk is a very relative term. If you club, for example, I can do very brisk walking in the morning, and I can do japa at the same time. It will go something like this. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, because you are out of breath. Seriously, because if you go brisk walk, then your heart is pumping blood, and then it is going deep breath. You will miss one line out. Only 2 words are heard from 16 syllables. 4, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, that's it. Everything else is consumed by the breath. So, but some people, I'll give one more example. Person has serious back problem. You cannot sit for 15-20 minutes without hurting it. So you might want to walk up and down slowly, and then the point is whether sitting or standing, clear enunciation of mantra, and to the extent as much as possible having the mantra spoken. Koladi Prabhu, did I say that right? Thank you, Hare Krishna. That is one. And second thing is absolutely, Mahaprabhu says, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Nasmaranena Kalaha, or time. So it is okay to do it in the night, in the evening. Ideal to complete in the morning, but I understand. And if you have to do it in the evening, as long as you are able to take the time out and keep japa exclusive activity, that's all. You don't club it with other things. It's fine, Mata. Is that helpful? Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes. Anybody online? Okay, all right. If nothing else, okay, please.
Okay. I read somewhere that japa, sitting down is in the mode of sattva, and then walking is rajas, and sleeping or lying down is tamasic japa. Is there any truth to that?
I don't know which person made that statement, but again, it's more of an individual thing. Sitting straight and doing it is the best thing, but I'll give a simple example. Haridas Thakur was doing 192 rounds, as I mentioned earlier, and in his old age, one Mahaprabhu, as a regulative principle, would go and visit Haridas every single day. And one day Mahaprabhu went, and Haridas was on his back, lying, sleeping, and he was chanting because he was too old to kind of sit for those many hours. And Mahaprabhu said, "How are you, Haridas?" He said, "I'm okay, but spiritually I'm deceased because I'm unable to chant my rounds." And Mahaprabhu said, "You are getting old, you should reduce the number of rounds." So the point is that it's very individual. The names of Krishna which are coming out from the mouth in any position, they are effective as long as they are done with faith and respect. So individual situation might dictate I can sit for 2 hours without getting up, or I might sit for half an hour and my legs will start hurting because I'm not used to it. I might have to stand up, I might walk a little bit, I might have to stretch. It all depends. 2 hours, I'll tell you one extreme case. 2 hours I should sit and chant, but I have diabetes. I have to take every other hour or something. Otherwise, it's hard. So you can see it's so many variations to that. There is no A formula that you can propose just to do that. And that is why it is Tattarpita Niyamita Smaranena Kalaha, exactly for this purpose. There is no a fixed posture, a fixed time, a fixed shower taken, fixed. There's nothing for stopping you from chanting. Mahaprabhu has removed all the excuses that one can offer. Oh, I'm not pure enough. I haven't taken shower enough. I cannot sit properly. Doesn't matter. Tatrarpita. So that is where it comes, na niyamena kalaha. There is no niyama or there is no kalaha. Is that helpful? But if you want to sit and chant for 2 hours straight, it's the best thing. But there are not many, based on age, based on so many circumstances, you cannot, for example. If, again, coming back to the example of a new mother who's given birth to her child for the first time, sitting might be tough for a few days. Who knows? Yes. Yeah. Anyways. All right, we need to make some progress here. But I will be very happy to take the questions. Good.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
First of all, sorry for asking this question. I don't want to offend anyone. But when you were talking about initiation, so I think it was started by Srila Prabhupada only to the female class. And although he has written a lot of things like Sri, Shudra, Dijabandhu, he has compared all three in one category. And he said that males are more spiritual, or they can perform more austerity and things like that. My question is not this, but the question is, the Pandavas, the Pandavas like Arjuna and everyone, they were very, sorry, they were very spiritually advanced and things. And although there's no bodily concept, they are eternal, like associates of Krishna. So, but still Krishna chooses to, more intimate pastime with the gopis, although they are womanly, and Arjun has performed more austerities, Pandavas. So how we can understand that when Prabhupada say that males are more intelligent and spiritual and austerity they perform, but Krishna himself, he said that the most important pastime is with the gopis. So he chose not Arjuna or any other male, but why the gopis? How?
Well, I'll give you the short answer and you can figure out the rest. Male or female has nothing to do with spiritual advancement or being close to Krishna on the bodily platform. I'll stop it at that. All right. Giving up company of non-devotees. This is, I think we touched on it. If you go down a little bit, giving up the company, we discussed a little bit. There are some extreme statements here. I would rather be placed in a cage, lighted on a fire, than to touch a non-devotee. And there are extreme examples here. Again, the point I discussed is that we may have to interact with the non-devotees on a regular basis. You have VCs, you have customers, you have employees, you have family members who are non-devotees. So do the best you need to make sure that they don't shake your faith, but at the same time, you don't quote this verse when they try to come to your home and you shut the door on them. Yes?
Also, Prabhuji, at times, say when growing up, both at my school and now at the current school at Stanford, it becomes imperative that I do make friends who are non-devotees, but I may not associate too much with them. However, I do go to the events once in a while. I'm not outcast. I don't want to be. I'm part of a classroom with all my classmates. Then how do you balance? I have seen often that when you're growing up in a devotional atmosphere or in a devotional family, sometimes you're asked to just like cut down from everything and then just be isolated. I'm not sure what's the right approach. So what's your view?
Isolated is not definitely the right approach. I can tell from Ramayana, Rishi Shringa was carefully so guarded by his father that he never even seen a face of the female, let alone heard voice. You know the story of what happened. Maharaj, I forget the name of the king, that he wanted rain in his kingdom and he seduced and so on and so forth. So complete isolation is definitely not recommended, because the reason is this for the complete isolation. It shows a short-sightedness on behalf of the parents who think that they are there to protect their child forever. And the child is going to grow up and they are going to go into this world. So instead of having the mentality to cripple, saying that you cannot face the non-devotees, give them tools on how to face the non-devotees, how to live in a world without being looked upon as weird and being shunned by people who are not in the same line. Having that kind of coaching is far more invaluable than trying to have this protective mentality. Having said that, you don't expose the child all the time. It's a fine balance. You have to. There is no other way around it. I mean, tomorrow if the child goes out to the world, I'll give a simple example. It can be, for example, instead of telling, oh, you're such a horrible devotee, because growing up, these have a serious impact on the mind of children, vulnerable children. You ate outside in your friend's place. You're a demon. It's scripturally bad. What did you do? And the child will just won't understand. And tomorrow when the child goes out to university, will they eat nothing or eat grass? So having to tell them in a way, balanced way, that maintain your principles, but at the same time adjust to the world that we might not be there. That is the sign of a mature parent. We won't be there all the time. But we can help you to navigate this world based on our experience. That will be so invaluable to the child.
Just to add on, Prabhuji, so I'll be giving a session to the kids here. They told me to speak on this topic. I will, as it is, copy-paste your sentences and just say.
Thank you. Next one. This is another topic. Oh my goodness. We have to go fast. So our next few is fine. Let's do this. This is really important. So next one, Srila Prabhupada has a very deep personal realizations in this particular thing. The topic is not accepting unfit disciples, constructing many temples or reading many books. So, Srila Prabhupada, he himself opened many temples and accepted many disciples. And he gives on why he did that. And he says that there are few things that Srila Prabhupada, it really struck me, was that you don't accept disciples because you will be dependent on them. You can accept disciples, but not with a view that the more number of disciples, then my maintenance is taken care of. That is a mentality, is a wrong mentality. And he says that I built the temples, many temples for propagating Krishna consciousness, following Srila Rupa Goswami, who also built temples. Govindadev temple was an architecture and marvel. It is that, so the idea Srila Prabhupada writes here is, you don't build temples so that, they become the places where I can stay. Oh my God, I need to be a Jagat Guru. Okay, I need to, where do I have temples? My God, only in Europe? I need in Australia. Okay, go and find people in Australia who can be donors and, chase these people and have these mutts and then get some people. Prabhupada says, decries that kind of thinking. He says, establishes temples all over the world, but they should be bases for preaching. They should be a dynamic center where more and more people can come and be part of this. If you have that kind of mentality, then you can open the temples. Otherwise, don't try to open the temples just for, becoming something. Okay? So, and reading so many books. Prabhupada writes 4 books. He says, we have given 4 books. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Nectar of Devotion. This is enough. If you see that particular thing, I'll not, practically, if one very carefully reads Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, or Chaitanya Charitamrita, because that was not published back then, the Nectar of Devotion, this will give him sufficient knowledge to understand the science of Krishna consciousness. So it's enough. Prabhupada kept it simple. Our whole philosophy is simple. Based on how complex you want to make it or how simple you want to make it, you can be that happy or not. All right. So the other things is, the next one also we'll discuss a little bit. So many points. This one chapter can take a lot of time. If you come down, the demigods. Actually, it's important that we understand this. This is what Rupa Goswami writes. One should not neglect to offer due respects to the demigods. One should not be a devotee of the demigods, but that does not mean he should be disrespectful. So this is, Sunita Mataji, I asked you to read, so you can read the first paragraph. Otherwise, I will be saying something in front of the deities and then they won't come to true. It's not good. Mata Sunita, you are there? Yes. First paragraph, please. Yes. Okay.
Hare Krishna, please.
Hare Krishna.
The demigods. One should not neglect to offer due respect to the demigods. One may not be a devotee of demigods, but that does not mean that he should be disrespectful to them. For example, a Vaishnav is not a devotee of Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, but he is duty-bound to offer all respects to such highly positioned demigods. According to Vaishnava philosophy, one should offer respect even to an ant. So then what is there to speak of such exalted persons as Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma? Should I read more, Prabhuji?
Yes, please complete it.
In the Padma Puran, it is said, Krishna or Hari is the master of all demigods, and therefore he is always worshipable. But this does not mean that one should not offer respect to the demigods.
Thank you. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, thank you, Mata. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by his own example, he showed when he was touring South India, he would go to temple of Lord Shiva and he would offer obeisances to his own devotee. So we should make sure that we don't disrespect the demigods. Not that, Indra, okay, you're there, I don't care. Yeah, no, just offer obeisances to Indra. You are the servant of Krishna, but thank you, have a nice day, I have to go. That is the way. All right. Anything else? This is not giving pain to any, this is beautiful, not giving pain to any living entity. So this is also nice, please read through it. Okay. So this particular chapter, we did 64 items of devotional service, correct? This chapter covered 18 of those. Srila Rupa Goswami gave the scriptural evidence for 18 of those items. And the 19th of that item was called that one should avoid seva aparada and nama aparada. So that was the item that was given by Rupa Goswami. He said, you should not commit offenses while you are serving the deity, and you should not commit offenses to the holy name. He just said that much. The next paragraph, next chapter, if you see the next chapter, Srila Prabhupada actually quoted Jiva Goswami. So these offenses, he quoted from Jiva Goswami, who quoted from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Rupa Goswami didn't give it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. This was quoted by Jiva Goswami from Hari Bhakti Vilas. Prabhupada gave us. So these are all the list of the offenses that you can do against the deity. And this is where red and blue cloth comes in, the fun part. So you can go through those. If you have questions, you can come back to me next class. You can do it as a homework. You can read through it. Any important or salient points? So one point I want to add on the red-blue garments is that and this red-blue garments actually comes into page 70. It is item number 13. If you look on 13, yeah, okay, correct, that one. One should not enter the temple wearing the garments of the red or blue color or garments which are unwashed or soiled. So what I have found from the research is there is a little bit of ambiguity. Jiva Goswami says that one should not worship the deities while you are wearing these color garments. But Prabhupada writes here one should not enter the temple. I myself was a little confused. But the reconciliation to that point is this. Prabhupada or his disciples never banned anybody from coming to the temple when they are wearing blue. Even in Prabhupada's time also, there was no ban. No, Prabhupada didn't say, this person is wearing red, get him out of the temple. Or wearing blue, get him out of the temple. So my understanding is that it is more you cannot wear these colors while you are worshipping the deities when you go to the altar, rather than coming into the temple. That's my understanding, or that's my take on this. So you cannot worship. If somebody is worshipping wearing these color garments, then it could be construed as an offense, but not coming to the temple. Based on Prabhupada's own lifetime, or in Leelamrita or other place, I never ever read anywhere that the person was banned from coming into the temple. So this is the confusion I just wanted to clear as well, based on my understanding. Otherwise, apart from that, you can go through those. They are reasonably straightforward. I'll take it. After describing about 40 around offenses against the deity worship, then the last 10, this paragraph writes about the holy name, offenses against the holy name that we read every day in the temple. All right, Krishna, you had your hand raised.
This is about the previous section about not hurting any living entity. So this is something I personally really struggled with. So I had like ants in my apartment, and I just like let them be, and I would like save them because I didn't want to like kill them. And then that caused like a lot of ants infestation where they were like everywhere. And then I couldn't like use the bathroom or the kitchen. So, and then also on Tulsi G, there's like those white bugs that always show up. And then eventually I ended up murdering all of them, which is like, I mean, using pest control. But like that felt like it burnt really badly. So like, how do I like repent for that? Or like, how do I?
No, as I mentioned earlier in the Nectar devotion, there is no repentance. Please keep continuing chanting and do bhakti as it is. And understand these are incidental violence. It is not intentional violence. There is an incidental versus intentional violence. This is something you can see it from the perspective that if you have to eliminate the pests that are bugging Tulsi, would you protect Tulsi, who is so dear to Krishna, and take the side like a warrior of Tulsi, protecting her, rather than worry about insects? And same is the case if you can't cook for Krishna because your ants have invaded the kitchen. Are they not disturbing the service? Are they not causing inconvenience to the Lord, who is waiting for you to accept the foodstuff? That angle also has to be taken. If you see everything equal, it's great, you should, but then Krishna takes the higher precedence. I would, we do whatever we need to do to kind of take care of the bhakti aspect of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have 30 more minutes. I'll go quick so that we can so go through this chapter. If you have questions, we can discuss. One of the only things I wanted to mention in this chapter, at all places we are asked not to worship the demigods, but there is an explicit reference here. Beautiful, you brought it here. If you come down, so stay in the same, stay in the same paragraph. Okay, stay in the same paragraph. Okay, go up a little bit. Okay, just don't ever move it. Stay in the. Other rules are there, and then you can see one should not worship. It's starting, yes. No, below that, one should not worship. So you can hold the whole thing. One should not worship the deity first. One should not worship the deity without first worshipping the demigod Ganapati, who drives away all the impediments in executing. So it is mentioned here, it's very explicit. So if you have Ganapati at home, if you do puja, again, we don't want to add layers and layers of vidhi, but you have full permission to worship Ganapati before you worship the Lord. In fact, in Govardhan ashram in Govardhan, Bhaktivedanta ashram, they have a small Ganapati in the entrance of that, and they would worship Ganapati first before they worship the deities. So this is the only place. No, none of the acharyas have given any explanation. There is no why only Ganapati, why not? It's just said you can do this. So you have permission to install Ganapati and worship him if you can before you worship the deities. All right, so those are the one point I wanted to bring it up, pretty unique. The chapter 9 is blasphemy. So this will discuss a little bit about blasphemy. And then I wish we had 4 or 5 hour classes for 1 month. We could have gone through each item. But you'll be so bored of me. All right, let's do the blasphemy. Blasphemy is important. Online, please, those who get a chance, please read. Mansi Mataji, you're there?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Please, yeah, do first 2 paragraphs.
All right, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Blasphemy. One should not tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his devotees. In this connection, in the 10th canto, 74th chapter, verse 40 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadev Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, "My dear king, if a person, after hearing blasphemous propaganda against the Lord and his devotees, does not go away from that place, he becomes bereft of the effect of all pious activities." In one of Lord Chaitanya's Shiksha Ashtaka verses, it is stated, "The devotee should be more tolerant than the tree and more submissive than the grass. He should offer all honor to others, but may not accept any honor for himself." In spite of Lord Chaitanya's being so humble and meek as a devotee, when he was informed about injuries inflicted on the body of Sri Nityananda, he immediately ran to the spot and wanted to kill the offenders Jagai and Madai. This behavior of Lord Chaitanya's is very significant. It shows that a Vaishnava may be very tolerant and meek, foregoing everything for his personal honor, but when it is a question of the honor of Krishna or his devotee, he will not tolerate any insult.
Mother, just complete it. There's one more paragraph you can just complete, please.
All right. Thank you, Prabhu. There are 3 ways of dealing with such insults. If someone is heard blaspheming by words, one should be so expert that he can defeat the opposing party by argument. If he is unable to defeat the opposing party, then the next step is that he should not just stand there meekly, but should give up his life. The third process is followed if he is unable to execute the above mentioned 2 processes, and that is that one must leave the place and go away. If a devotee does not follow any of the above mentioned 3 processes, he falls down from his position of devotion.
So this is, and so Krishna, the answer, it lies in here. You are very intolerant of those ants and those things that are causing harm to Tulsi. If you blaspheme, merely somebody by words blasphemes the Lord, you cannot tolerate. When you physically hurt the Lord or his devotee, then how can you tolerate?
But what about the ants?
They are taking over your kitchen. They are eating everything that is meant for the Lord, Baba. How dare they do that? So you can have that attitude as well. And I'm killing. This is Arjuna did the same killing, but he did it for Krishna. So you have to be careful, though. Ultimately, this can get very misleading very fast. It's a slippery slope. So have some kind of thing, but it should be genuine. That you cannot, you become in extreme love of Krishna. You fight for Krishna. Krishna won't be your protector. He will be protected by you, like Mother Yashoda. She would think that this is my child. If I don't feed him, he will die. That Lord, who's been maintaining innumerable living entities since time immemorial, Mother Yashoda thinks he will die if I don't feed. So having that mamatva to Krishna is there's a whole other topic. Will come 17, 18, 19 chapters. When we do this, will come. But you can think like that perspective as well. And then if the violence happens, then Krishna will protect me because I'm doing it for him, not for my false ego.
I feel like whenever I step in on the road, I'm sure I'm also killing a bunch of things.
Pray to Krishna. This is the nature of this material existence. As much as possible, avoid. At night, nobody knows. So that is the whole thing. Bhakti and surrender to Krishna. Therefore he says, Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. I will protect you from all the sins. Not that I deliberately kill people and do sins and expect him to protect me, but accidentally it happens, Krishna will take care. Yes. Wow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
What is the appropriate expression of the compassion of a Vaishnav in regard to blasphemy? For example, Lord Nityananda was very merciful and begged Lord Chaitanya to deliver Jagai and Madai.
What is I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. My apologies.
Yes, so in that regard, was he humble and meek?
Who was? Chaitanya or Nityananda?
Lord Nityananda.
He was. He was showing extreme humility. It's okay. They hit me, but please save. But Mahaprabhu said, because they hurt you, I'm not going to leave them. But Nityananda Prabhu said, please leave them. Mahaprabhu's intention failed in front of Nityananda's compassion. Mahaprabhu's intention was to kill, but then he became subservient to Nityananda Prabhu's plea. He's independent Supreme Personality of God. He can do whatever he wants to do. Helpful? Let me complete. I'll take later. All right. So that is one thing is, you should be very careful about the Lord and blaspheming the Lord. Please don't give up the life. Don't go that extreme. And if you cannot, the best safe bet is to leave that place. That's all. Whether it is your own relatives, whether it is your co-workers. That's where my personal thing is, if you preach too much to your co-workers or to your boss, if that person blasphemes, then what are you going to do about it? Are you going to pick a fight and then disrupt the whole harmony? And that's the reason you should be careful about work and work preaching. I'm not advocating against it, but use extreme caution. Because there could be situations where they won't take it kindly. I mean, if somebody comes to our temple and starts giving class on Mayavad philosophy, will you take it kindly? Same thing. You go to their workplace that you are an employee and you are expected to follow some rules and regulations. So, little careful. And Hanumat Rishak Maharaj said, if you really want to preach at work, again, try it with good example. Take some Charanamrit and put it in the water cooler. Everybody eats Charanamrit. Or offer prasadam at work. Take prasadam, cookies, things like that. And you can do it. But, openly telling about Krishna and everything at work might be taken in a wrong way. So please be careful. All right. Then let's see some salient points here. Actually, we'll go to the last. There is submission. There are Oh, I wanted to do it. Okay, so let's do submission. The first paragraph. Who wants to read online who did not get a chance?
I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, Sukamala, please. The first paragraph.
Yeah. In the Skanda Purana, there is a statement about submission unto the lotus feet of the Lord. It is said there that those who are sober devotees can offer their submission to Krishna in the following 3 ways. Samprarthanamika, very feelingly offering prayers. Dainya Bodhika, humbly submitting oneself. Lalasya Mai, desiring some perfectional stage. The desiring some perfectional stage in spiritual life is not sense gratification. When one realizes something of his constitutional relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he understands his original position and wants to be reinstated in this position, either as friend, servant, parent, or conjugal lover of Krishna. That is called lalasa mai, or very eagerly desiring to go to one's natural position. This lalasa mai stage of submission comes in the stage of perfect liberation, which is technically called swarupa siddhi, when the living entity understands by perfect spiritual advancement and revelation his original relationship with the Lord.
Thank you. And Rupa Goswami gives 3 examples. So there are here, submission is, this thing is very internal. This mode is extremely internal. That how, so Samprarthanatmika is very feelingly offering prayers. Dainya Vodika is humbly submitting oneself, and Lalasamai is desiring some perfectional stage. So these are some nice verses there. And then, submission of feeling is Yotinam cha yata yunum. That verse that we read, that is one example. And then submission in humbleness. It is the same verse by Rupa Goswami, Matsamo nasti papatma. He says that there is no sinner than me. And then Lalasamai is that Lalasamai is. There are few other examples that he gives. Lalasamai Vignapti. We'll read the last paragraph and then go to the next one. Online, is there anybody?
I can read it.
Please.
Sure.
No, so sorry. Last paragraph of the submission. My apologies. Okay, it starts with, in other words. Yep. And Vicky, I would like you to give attention to this. Let she read, but please give attention.
In other words, one should learn how to cry for the Lord. One should learn this small technique, and he should be very eager and actually cry to become engaged in some particular type of service. This is called Laila. Lauila. And such tears are the prize for the highest perfection. If one develops this laula, or excessive eagerness for meeting and serving the Lord in a particular way, that is the price to enter into the kingdom of God. Otherwise, there is no material circulation for the value of the ticket by which one can enter the kingdom of God. The only price for such entrance is Lila Lalasa Maya, or desire and great eagerness.
You remember last time we were talking about this, you wanted the verse? That's why I said. Don't mind me saying that, because I never said, not because you are not paying attention, but it was really because I remembered last time you wanted that verse. You wanted to know, you are eager, Laulia, to know where that Lauliam verse is. So that's why. All right. Reciting notable prayers is the next one in the line. We have no dearth of prayers in ISKCON Silicon Valley. We have one too many prayers that we learn. You can pick up any prayers and pray to the Lord. I actually wanted to do some prayers today as a practical, the theory and practice. but we might not have that kind of time. And these prayers I came up were really unique prayers, Shuka's prayers, but we'll do some other time because there are so many questions and they take precedence over prayers. Let's see what else is there that I wanted to discuss. Drinking Charanamrit. We have Charanamrit in the temple. If you come down a little bit, partaking of prasad, drinking Charanamrit, smelling incense and flowers. We recite that famous verse, Tvayo. Yeah, so Vasolanka. That is the evidence Rupa Goswami gives for smelling the incense and flowers offered to the deities. Seeing the deity, or observing the arati and celebrations of the Lord. So this completes this particular chapter. Then in the next chapter, we have furthermore evidence of hearing, chanting, and expecting the Lord's mercy, and so on and so forth. And those they end up, few more chapters. We can do that. So we will stop here. I know there are a lot of information. Please read to them, and if you have questions, then we can discuss. Yes, online. I'll give online chance first. I know Laksh also has a question, but... All right. Sukamala, you might want to mute if you are not speaking. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Go for it, Krishna, and then Laksh.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about Ekadashi. There was a section on Ekadashi, and it states that for Ekadashi, the main purpose is to spend more time in prayer and more time in devotional service. But my question is more around like the fasting aspect of it. Like sometimes I feel like I eat more on Ekadashi. Fasting today, and then and then there's so many like different types of food stuff and like prasad that's there, and then sometimes I try to do like, okay, today I'm gonna like not eat anything, and then I think then it becomes about the food. So like, what's the best way for fasting? And then I've also heard sometimes people build up to it. So like sometimes they only do like fruits and water, and then sometimes people also like start the day before where they only have one meal the day before and then not have anything. So like, what's like from Shastra? What's the right?
That is the beauty of Shastra. There is no specific recommendation. As in, there is general recommendation like fasting from grains and beans, but how much you can pull back, even to the point of completely not even drinking water. There are devotees who do that. Every Ekadashi, they just don't drink water till next day. So how much you can do is up to you. But the point Srila Prabhupada writes is, if I have to do fasting with water or eating fruits, but miserable throughout the day that I can't chant, then you should eat prasadams, Ekadashi prasadams. if you are like, I want, like a Goswami, I want to hear and chant all day, and that is my food and that's my pleasure, then you will say cooking is waste of time, and Ekadashi is a perfect excuse not to cook. The Lord also doesn't need anything that day, so He's given me freedom to do. So you can see how, based on your individual situation, you should be able to exercise certain, certain eating within the bounds of scriptural injunctions.
Oh, this is kind of somewhat new to me. So like, there's no requirement to like give prasad to Bhagwan on Ekadashi?
Sorry?
Like there's like no requirement for offering like prasad to or like offering food.
I mean, if for those who are doing nirjal, and they might just offer some water and some fruit to the Lord. These are the questions that the most of the questions come from those devotees who are not even doing Bhakti Shastri. It's amazing. Thank you. Laksh, yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So I'll ask two questions if you allow, because the class is about to end. Okay? Thank you. So, Prabhuji, first, I couldn't find in the 64 item list observing Chaturmasa, although there are 4 items we should not eat, like black lentils, yogurt, milk, and spinach. So, is this a major in major or minor in major? Please guide me on that.
I mean, Chaturmasya is there, but it's not mentioned. So the devotees do observe it, but it's not extremely major.
And in the last class also, Prabhuji, you said we should avoid intentional Vaishnava Prad. So what do you mean by intentional? And yeah, I understand that meaning, but unintentionally done can also have some effects also.
So when I said intentional and unintentional, unintentionally, if you have committed offense and then the other person has taken cognizance of it, then certain remediation and you have to offer apologies and so on and so forth. Unintentional is we have slippers on the floor and you put it on the top. And a Vaishnava will be very offended. You wasted my time because you took it somewhere. It was completely unintentional. Is it? So things like that.
Yeah, but somehow like if you do not mean to hurt someone or something like that, but you're laughing or they may think that it is offensive. So will that count as a Vaishnava Prad?
Yeah, but then if they are offended, then yes, you should explain to them it was never intentional. It was endearing. Why are you laughing? I found it very endearing rather than mocking, or rather than just making fun of you. That was not the purpose. So it depends. All right. More questions? If there is nothing, then we have 5 minutes. We should stop here. Next week is Janmashtami. The week after is, I don't know if there is a class week after. I think every other week there is. But I think it is Rath Yatra. Right? Yeah, so
yes, it is.
Yeah, Rath Yatra. So we won't have class for next 3 weeks. No, yeah, maybe 3rd week from now. We don't have the class in 2 week time. We might have after that because we scheduled it. When we scheduled the classes, we scheduled it. Yes. Sorry? I think so. So we won't. Huh? I know, we don't have classes, so that's what there is a break now that's going to come up. 4 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. In a month's time, we'll meet. 4 weeks would be September 9th or 10th, something that weekend. Yeah, so that just wanted to let you know that, this will be the last class for next month. And then happy Janmashtami, San Francisco Rath Yatra and Radhashtami, and then we'll meet after that. Really? That's so nice. That's so nice. Sunita Mataji has her hand up. So.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Smita, sorry Mataji. Smita, yes.
Prabhu, will you be sharing assignments maybe because we are not going to meet for the next almost a month, so there will be a good time for us to refresh back on the notes, and then we can also do assignments.
Excellent point, Mataji. We will ask Balmukunda Prabhu to send out the assignments for the work done so far. I think we have completed 9 chapters today.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah. So half we are done. Almost half. 19 are the chapters. The 9 is done. 10 more are remaining. Sorry? Oh, we completed 10th? Oh, yeah. So we have 10 more chapters, which will be another 3 or 4 classes. But later classes can be, then from 15th, I think 14th or 15th is Vaidi done. Then 15th and 16th is Raganuga. I know your question. It's still there. 15th and 16th is Raganuga, 17th and 18th is Bhava, and 19th is Prema. So Rupa Goswami continues to discuss up till that point the Vaidhi Bhakti, and then he'll just keep on mentioning different forms. And 13th is the 5 potent forms of devotional service. We'll come to that at that point of time. So the next, I think we'll try to complete at least 10, 11, 12 maybe. We can, 3 chapters in the next class. And then we can do 1 more class and we should be done with, 15th and 16th. You can see spontaneous devotional service, that is Raganuga. And then 17th and 18th is Bhava, and then 19th is Prema. So we are done with whatever we need to do for the Bhakti Shastri. The southern portion is whole other topics. Smita Mataji, your hand is still up. You still have another question, or?
No, Prabhu, I'll lower it down now.
All right, okay, all right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Online.
Krishna, yes, Mansi Mataji.
Prabhuji, in October this year is Kartik. Usually you give some days off in Kartik because you also travel sometimes.
Yeah, we'll adjust. Sorry, are you traveling, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu, to India.
All right. We'll see what can be done. At this point, I think there are no specific plans, but we'll see what can be done, Mataji, in terms of, we'll revisit it as we go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Any other final questions or comments? Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, my question is for items which are not listed explicitly in the 64 items, like because Prabhu raised the point of Bhadra. So when it said like so if somebody donates Srimad Bhagavatam on Bhadra, or like other things like if you donate some Lakshmi towards any service of the Lord, which might not be explicitly listed in the 64 items of devotional service, how does that help in our devotional?
So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, always think of me, if not work for me. So in the bhakti is just not limited to these, but any other service. For example, in the 64 limbs, there is no book distribution. But Prabhupada gave us that. So in the 64 limbs, it is mentioned you have to circumambulate the deities. We don't do that. So based on Srila Prabhupada's orders or instructions, we follow that. We may not be able to absorb all the 64 limbs here, but at least whatever we can, then we should be able to do it. But japa is something, the hearing and chanting, that will remain fundamental. Doesn't matter how much of transmutations, transmorgifications, changes ISKCON goes through, hearing and chanting about Krishna has to be the base. If it is not there, then there is no movement. The other details will keep changing.
So there can be some sort of activities outside the realm of these 64 items which are still considered devotional service, but like you said, the book distribution, but Maharaj, like everybody refers to it as Sankirtan, so it's directly like glorification of the Lord.
But it's not mentioned by Rupa Goswami as glorification. So people can argue like a lawyer in the court case. But Prabhupada gave us Sankirtan, we said we are saying, okay, that's another form of glorification of Krishna. Because Prabhupada authorized it. Otherwise, we can take everything and transmute it. That becomes dangerous. So one should be really careful on following like the authority and how they are interpreting it and what's useful for us. Thank you. All right. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for steadily coming week after week and hearing the nectar of devotion. I pray that our previous acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, and our gurus may shower blessings on us so that we can deeply imbibe, understand, and live this book, Nectar of Devotion. Hare Krishna.